Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to TLP Live on this wonderful, gorgeous Sunday, early evening, late afternoon. It's been such a great day. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Happy Sunday, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, happy Sunday. It's gorgeous out here tonight.
It really is. It's been a really wonderful weekend.
Yeah, and after last weekend was wonderful. We had a great Sunday night. We had a great show Sunday night. And then Monday, we get this crazy, crazy storm.
We did.
I stopped at Menards to pick up some lumber for one of your projects here. And I was stuck in the doorway at Menards for 30 minutes watching this wind just shear straight sideways and trees being bent almost to the ground. It was crazy.
Yes, it was. It was. As a matter of fact, we thought that it was an actual tornado that ran through Forreston, which is about 15, 20 miles away from here. But it turned out that they officially called it what's called Sideline Winds, which I'm sure if you're from out here, you're familiar with it. It's like a tornado. It's as fast as a tornado, but instead of spinning around in a funnel, it just goes straight. And we had some trees fall down here, Dan. We had some trees fall down on the around the campus, and thank goodness, nobody was here at the time.
Well, I was driving up here, and so I turned the corner onto Black Oak, and I couldn't get up to the office. And I was going to go around, and somebody else said, "Don't go the other way because there's a tree that fell on the other side." So our office was kind of closed off with trees. I had to drive through the TLP Gardens to get into the office. And then we found, trees down. You had one drop behind the house. We had one drop in the gardens area.
And the nature trails. We went on the nature trails and couldn't get through. There were a couple fell on the nature trail there. So yeah, it was a pretty severe, but thank goodness nobody got injured. Everybody's okay. And
of course, the big one came down on the rehearsal pad again.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
The second time we have had that rehearsal pad, and this time, it's smashed up pretty good.
Yeah, I think that I'm not the insurance claim, so I'm not going to say anything. But I'm hoping that this might be the start of getting our new rehearsal pavilion enclosed pavilion. So we have a good reason.
Well, all I can say is we would have had that entire thing done. It would have been done. The glass would have been done. The glass doors, what do you call them? The garage doors.
Yeah,
would have all been completed had not COVID come along and DCEO said, "Sorry, but all projects have to stop. We need that money elsewhere." So
I know.
Kind of, if there's any silver lining to COVID, that might have been it. Otherwise, we'd have a lot of glass.
I know. Well, I guess it kind of is just it's a testament to where we are, because we lost that grant because they said that they had to give it to support the Chicago theaters, and that we were not considered a Chicago theater because we're too far away.
Yep.
Which for us, we've always felt that way anyway. And but although we have a lot of colleagues and friends in Chicago and we love them dearly, we bring them out here. We figured, what, we'll bring Chicago to us. We don't need to be a part of that scene if that's the way that they want
to. Yeah. Anyway, and then I drove home from here, and I drove through Forreston, and it was, oh my gosh, those poor people.
I heard Forreston. They were
pulled out of the ground, houses smashed. There was an entire trailer court that just got smashed. It was honestly, it was hard for me to get through town and try to get out on my way home.
Well, send all of our prayers and good energy to the people of Forreston if you guys get hit, because I know that we lost power. I heard some people lost power. This happened on Monday, and I heard people had lost power up until Saturday.
Yeah, I think I just talked to someone this morning, and they're still without power. They're expecting it this afternoon. Or they were expecting it this afternoon.
Out some love
without power, but thank goodness with all that damage, we didn't have a lot of injury, and the people that were injured in Forreston, from what I know, was not life-threatening injuries. So, thank goodness. And a lot of people out as I drove to work today. A lot of people out in Forreston with their chainsaws and their rakes and their trailers picking up trees. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was quite a day. And then here we are today, and it's just gorgeous out.
and it's gorgeous. And you know, it's so funny. Speaking of chainsaws, Dan, you know, I was at Menards the other day. I've learned to love Menards. You know, in New York, there's no Menards, and out here, it's great. And apparently, lumber is on the up as far as like if you are an investor, if you like to play the stocks. Apparently, lumber is up because everybody's doing home projects now because of COVID, and we are no exception to that. We have been doing some major renovations on our spaces. We're very excited about that. We talked about that last week, and I was really also very impressed with. Oh, there you go. That's our new loft balcony in our scene shop, and that is something that and there's the other view. So that was in the balcony. This is our new prop shop. That was the old storage shed. That is now the new prop shop, and apparently, Dan, I'm told right there, you see those two, go back to that picture. I want to tell everybody, you see the two bar stools that are underneath that table there?
Oh, yeah.
So apparently the story is of those bar stools is that one of our past donors, Gail Moulet, and Jim donated those bar stools. Those were actually Gail's bar stools growing up in Illinois back in the day. And she donated those to us a couple of years ago, and they ended up, I didn't know any of this. They ended up right there. I put them in there for our prop artisans to sit and work on projects. And she said, I grew up with those bar stools.
Yeah.
So I love that.
We used them in, what show was it? Always Patsy Cline. We used them in Always Patsy Cline too.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, and I see we have some fans coming on today. Kyle Simpkins. Thank you, Kyle, for joining us tonight. Good to see you. And Deanna Shepard. Hi, Dee. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Glad you are with us.
Well, Kyle helped us out a little bit this last week. I don't know if you know this or not, Paul, but we've been looking at the code, some of the code issues with some of the wiring in the theater, and one of the switches that we needed for our mover lights. That's like a $5,000 or $6,000 item. Kyle found one at the auction in Pheasant Run, and was able to help us pick it up for just a little over $500.
What?
Yeah. So
Kyle, once again, coming through, and Kyle was very instrumental a couple weeks ago. He came and we were getting rid of a couple of some road cases and things to help clear out the storage shed to create the prop shop. And Kyle brought his rig, his big 18-wheeler rig, and he hauled about 17 of them away from us, and then helped us move a big trailer from behind the theater. So
Kyle was here, in 2006? He was our master electrician.
He was our TD. He was an assistant TD. But actually he started at 13 years old. He was just around here. He wanted to help out because he grew up in Mount Carroll. And apparently Sheldon said, you can't work here until you're of age. But he kept coming back every year until we got hired.
Well, very good. Good to see Kyle and Deanna tonight. Yeah. So we have a guest tonight from 10 years ago, the resident company in 2010. And we'll hear a lot about what went on at that time. Let's bring on our guest tonight. Here's Samantha.
Hello.
Hello there.
Samantha.
Yeah. How are you guys tonight?
Doing well.
We're great. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're living, where you went to school, how you got to TLP.
Yeah. So my name is Samantha Barboza. I was a part of the TLP resident company back in 2010. I'm old. And I went to Missouri State University down in Springfield, Missouri. And how I got plugged into TLP, so there's all these unified auditions where a bunch of different companies come to one specific location and you do one audition for like 60 to 90 plus companies. And so this particular audition I went to was Midwest Auditions in St. Louis. So it was at Webster University. And I got a call back for TLP. And that is when Jim Beaudry was the artistic director. And so I walked into that callback room. And to this day, it is one of my favorite audition experiences, just because, like, a lot of auditions you do, they have you read or sing something from the shows that they were going to do for the season. And Jim's callback for me was to just do whatever my audition material was, but like as certain characters from that season. So I had sung a song from Little Women, the musical, and he had me sing it in the style of like Mama Morton in Chicago, which is the part that I ended up playing. So yeah, I ended up hopping over to the woods in 2010 and what did I do that summer? Chicago. I was a part of the Magic Owl Theater. They did Bridge to Terabithia and Charlotte's Web. Oklahoma and Curtains was the season that I did there. So I got to play Mama Morton in Chicago, Aunt Eller at 23. Like I was a baby Aunt Eller, and then Carmen in Curtains, which was so much fun. And it's funny, you were talking about storms earlier, and I distinctly remember, I actually almost sent pictures. We had a really bad storm that happened the summer that I was there, where we had trees that like came in between the cabins, and like I have shots of pictures of like mangled limbs in between things. And one of my, we were opening, what was the play? They were doing Steel Magnolias. That was the second show of the season, and I wasn't in it. And I just remember there was a torrential storm that was happening. And Tyler, or Sawyer Smith now as the stage name, that's how we met. He came like lumbering into the kitchen being like, we have to go, like there's a tornado warning. Like we were all kind of getting shoved into the theater, and the power went out, and literally like they had us go up into the loft to find whatever candles, flashlights, anything that could be lit. And like we had just started rehearsals for Oklahoma. So we like got out on stage, singing the title number for an audience who came to see Steel Magnolias. And like the minute the last candle was that, they're like, okay, guys, we have to call it. Like the show's canceled. We're like, what is tonight? What is happening? But there was always good times at TLP. It was always a party. Oh my God, Curtains.
There's your Mama Morton picture with Tyler, actually.
Yeah, this is actually Curtains. So this is the show at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So that's Carmen, that fabulous wig. And yeah, that's Tyler. That's how we met. Little babies, the two of us. So
you know, it's not a summer at TLP until the power goes out.
Exactly. And you're in the middle of the woods, and like this, just like with the power goes out, it's pitch black.
It's pitch black. You can see the stars. They're amazing.
Beautiful. But then you're also like, hi, when is the light coming back on?
Exactly. Yep, absolutely. Well, that's fun. Well, so Samantha, tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming an actor. Is that something that you've always wanted to be? Was it something that you found it on your path early? What was your road?
I've always been a pretty dramatic kid. And I mean, who doesn't like attention? No, I've always loved performing. I've always loved singing. And so I knew from a pretty early age that was something I wanted to do. It wasn't until high school really where I kind of seriously was like, oh, I think I might actually want to do this like full time. Like someone will pay me to put costumes on and sing songs and do a show. Great. And so, yeah, I decided to pursue my musical theater degree. So I got my BFA in musical theater at the end of 2008. So I graduated in the fall. And I've been very lucky. Like I'm definitely, I've been able to have at least one regional or professional credit every year since graduating college, and which I know is such a huge blessing because I know how difficult and how competitive the field can be. But I've been very lucky and very blessed, not only with work, but good work. My summer at TLP really solidified. Actually, my summer at TLP really solidified that I wanted to do this and I could do it. I think every actor has kind of that aha moment, if you will, where it's like, oh, no, I actually could do this maybe. And I really do credit that to Jim. He is just somebody who he sees potential in people, and he really does foster that. I was playing characters that were anywhere from 15 to 30 plus years my senior. And yet to be able to do these roles, like really, I discovered a lot about myself and how I wasn't and how I approached the process and how I approached working with others. And, when you're doing 12 hours of rehearsal and then jumping into a show that night and you're living with each other in the middle of a cornfield, it's impossible, not to get close, and not to learn. I mean, that's the beauty of doing summer stock is you're being thrown into the ring with literally anybody. And you know, my particular year at TLP, I worked with an incredible group of artists who were all, you know, incredibly talented and fun and like collaborative, and people that I still talk to this day, you know, who are directing and they're producing and they're still acting. And, you know, it's one of my favorite things about what I do, is getting to meet new people who have the same kind of passion and drives that you do. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Jim was and still is an amazing artist, and it's so great that, you know, he had fostered so many wonderful artist talents and brought the theater to such a great level that when I took over for him, I knew it was these huge shoes to fill. But you know, he set us up for success, and there's no doubt about that. You know, and there's something about TLP that, like you said, you know, you're thrown into the mix. You're thrown into this, you know, you have to just hit the ground running, and you're, you know, did that change your process? Did that help form your process for later years as your career went on?
Oh yeah. I mean, the cool thing about TLP was that was like my first really true like summer stock experience. I had done a summer stock the previous year. And like when you hear summer stock, you think like what my impression of summer stock was what TLP is. It was like, you get there, you're working 10 to 10, you're busting out show after show after show. And my first professional gig, it was a much more, it wasn't lax, but like it was evening rehearsals for like 5 hours a night. And we had like the weekends off. And so going into TLP, you know, to have that kind of quintessential summer experience where not only you're rehearsing a show for 10, 12 hours a day, but then once that shows up, the next show's rehearsing, and that show's rehearsing all day, and then you're putting the next one up. It really does teach you to kind of find that work balance. You know, we'd be performing shows of Chicago, and the cast of Steel Magnolias would be in rehearsals, and I would be working with another group of actors doing rehearsals for Magic Owl Theater and doing Charlotte's Web. And it's, you know, keeping all of your lines and dialogue and lyrics for Chicago going and fresh and staying on top of that, but learning all these new things on top of, we were about to start rehearsals for Oklahoma, which is a whole other beast, and it's a whole other full show. And, you know, it really does teach you how to, you know, you have to stay on top of it. You have to keep on your toes. You have to kind of, you can't just kind of twiddle your thumbs and be like, well, I'll figure it out when I figure it out. It really does kind of force you to become a quick study. You know, and so like, I know for me, you know, I'm very much somebody, when I'm learning new material, I can get off book and all I want beforehand, but I know with the minute we start adding blocking and choreography, it's going to be like relearning it all anyway. So you really do kind of, for me, it became this process of going, okay, know the stuff, like know what you're getting into, have all that background work done, know the character, know the intentions, know what's happening in the scene, so that when you do have to, you know, have that like mental block for 2 minutes when you're like, okay, we've added all this choreography and now there's blocking and I have to remember all of this now. It's not like reinventing the wheel. You've done 90% of the work as it is. It's just a matter of incorporating it all then. But yeah, I mean, my time at TLP definitely fostered a work ethic that I have maintained and has kept me working and has kept me employed. And has kept me on top of things when like things get super challenging and I'm like, I'm tackling this massive role and oh my gosh, how am I going to get all of that? You just kind of remember, okay, you were doing 5 shows at once. You're fine.
You know, we like to call TLP theater boot camp. It's like it's like you hit the ground running and you don't get a chance to break. If you can make it through the summer and still like what you're doing, you know, you got a great shot at this profession.
Definitely.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You drove out here from Kansas City.
I did, yes.
And the roads get narrower and the cornfields get more and the bean fields. And then all of a sudden, like out of the middle of nowhere, these trees and this theater happens. What was your first impression coming into Timberlake? And it's okay to be totally honest.
I distinctly remember. So I had some friends who had worked there a year or two prior. So like they had kind of been like you're going to be working kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, okay, cool. And I just remember I don't even remember the name of, there's a town that I passed through. It had like a big like power plant and a Walmart. Remember, we went there a lot because like that was kind of where like the first like big bit of civilization was. Not that Mount Carroll doesn't have civilization, but I think the biggest thing in Mount Carroll at that point was the subway. I remember hitting that point where it's like, you're kind of just driving farther and farther. You hit a point after a while where you're like, did I miss it? Like, I'm still driving through cornfields and I haven't seen a sign yet. And I distinctly remember though, kind of getting in there and being like, okay, I'm like in a camp. This is weird. Like, how is this going to be for a summer experience? And when we kind of got the first tour of like, let me show you the spaces and the dressing rooms, I remember being so pleasantly surprised by the facilities at Timberlake. I think it's like you kind of start driving through cornfield. And I mean, let's be honest for say 8 seconds. I'm from Kansas. It's not like the scenery is changing like a drastic much. Between Kansas, I mean, I'm definitely in a suburban area, but like I've seen my fair share of cornfields. You know, but to see a space that does the shows as well as it does there, like I think it would have been easy to make an expectation of like, oh, I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be like cute little like podunk theater or whatever. And so to go in there and, you know, the amount of talent that's not just on stage. I mean, we had an exceptional crew the year I worked there too, who legitimately worked their backsides off because we had, when we were doing curtains, that was like the big behemoth show that year. And it's definitely a show that requires a lot, not just of your actors, but it requires a lot technically. Like in theory, you need a trapdoor, you need a fly system, you need a lot of things that TLP did not have when I was there. And so we had, I think the show right before that was Love, Sex, and the IRS. It was our farce. And I think from the time that that show closed, our crew was doing changeover for like legitimately a solid 4 days with no rest. You know, we were still doing things. They were still doing stuff to get the show up on its feet the day before we open. And it's just the amount of commitment. Like there's just, you can't help but like have so much respect for people who clearly respect what they do and they love what they do. You know, I've worked at my fair share of places that, you know, it's kind of like, we'll just slap it together. We'll figure it out as we go. But to see a place like that, that's just like, oh no, like, yes, we're in the middle of a cornfield. Yes, we're kind of in a campsite. Yes, we're essentially in a big nature park, but the expectation is to still bring excellence. And I respect that so much. It's probably one of my favorite things about TLP was that there was no skimping on the quality of product that got put out there. And like the audiences were some of the most welcoming and some of the most just like supportive. And I loved doing the meet and greets afterwards because like, you know, the first show, they're just getting to know you, especially if you're not someone like I was brand new. They're like, ooh, you're new. Like, let's get to know you a little bit. Mm-hmm. And by, you know, curtains, they're like, Sam, oh my gosh, like, wow, this and this and this. And it's just so cool to see how much, like, I'm such a firm believer that, you know, talking to people in this pandemic, especially, there's been so much talk about like, what is essential work, you know, and, you know, I think it's easy to kind of have a cynical impression of like, oh, well, it's just theater people. And like, your work's not essential. Like, you know, you can play dress up another time. We're not essential in the sense of if like a show doesn't happen, someone starves, but we are life fulfilling and we are life sustaining in that regard. And I think it is so important to remember that the arts, you know, it doesn't matter where you're seeing it, whether it's on the comfort of your couch watching Hamilton on Disney Plus, or, you know, in a theater on Broadway, or in the middle of a cornfield at Timberlake. There is, you know, we tell stories. Like our job is to tell stories. Our job is to create these worlds and to help transport people, you know, whether it's from their everyday problems and escape for a little bit, or to think a little bit harder about the world that we live in and what their part in it is. And I love that TLP takes that seriously in its production values, in the people it hires, in the people it stabs. Like it's evident from the moment I stepped foot on that place that TLP loves what it does and it wants to put its best foot forward. And I love that.
You know, we had a very, I don't know what the right word is, Paul, but our founder, that's how he built this place.
I love
And
that.
it is absolutely amazing that 59 years later, it is still
Yeah.
the place for excellence. And that's where Andy started this place. And I tell you, even when he wasn't working here anymore, he would come out. When I first started, he would come out and he'd walk through that door and he'd say, well, I've left you alone for 3 months now. It's time for us to talk. And when Paul started, he'd come out and he'd be at rehearsals and he'd, he was very unassuming, but you understood the passion this man had for this place.
Yeah.
That just instilled through everybody who has worked here.
Yeah, it's an inspiration. Andy would pull me aside after he and his wife Lou would come out and they would see a final dress tech. They would always come back for the run, but they always had to come see the final dress tech because he always wanted to make sure that we were living up to what he wanted. Even when he was, even when he had gotten to the point where it was hard for him to speak, he still had notes. He still had a couple notes, making sure that we were living up to what he had started, and that respect and that commitment. 2 words that you had mentioned, Sam. That those are 2 of the words. Those are the credos that we walk through when we hire people. We look for those qualities, those traits, because again, Timberlake Playhouse is only as successful as its resident company. Because as you know, and as many of our patrons know, full time, is Dan, myself, Bill, Jen, and then we have Robert, our education director, who's becoming more a part of the year-round scene. But other than that, we bring in everybody seasonally to create our company, and so we have to we take painstaking time to find the right people, the people that can have that passion, that commitment, and that respect for what they do and for what they're doing, and the work that they take pride in their work, because that's the only way that the excellence is strived. And whenever I talk to alumni, those words resonate with them very, very much. And so, it's so good to know that you felt the same and that informed you. And now I would like to ask you, when you left TLP and to talk to us a little bit about from 2010 to 2020, what have you been kind of up to?
Oh, just a quick jaunt, 10 years ago. Like I said, I've been incredibly lucky. I've been able to pretty consistently be working. I've done my fair share of summer stocks. I've done a lot of stuff in the Midwest. I worked in theaters in Nebraska and Missouri and South Dakota. I did an almost 2-year stint working at Dollywood, Dolly Parton's theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I've spent some time, working in Pennsylvania, and, to be able to, and on top of all of that, like between shows, my home base is kind of Kansas City. That's where family and friends are. And, while I'm here between gigs, like I've been lucky enough to teach classes to middle school and high school students and direct a few shows for youth theaters and kind of impart some of that love that I have, to the next generation of performers, because I fully realize that this is an ever evolving field, and, things that, I'm still learning or I'm figuring out day to day. There are kids who know circles around me with stuff like this. And so it's fun to kind of impart the things that I've learned and the lessons that I've learned to those kids and see them have those light bulb moments. So yeah, a little bit. So, the theater work has been incredible. I've gotten to play, I've done like Rizzo and Grease and Sour Kangaroo and Seussical. Last summer, I just did a contract at McLeod Summer Playhouse in Carbondale, Illinois, doing Full Monty, and I got to play Mama Rose and Gypsy, which was just like everything and utterly challenging and just insane and wonderful. And just like little things here and there, Godspell and Drowsy Chaperone, and it's just been, I've been incredibly lucky and incredibly blessed to not only work with wonderful artists, but to be given the opportunity to play in such wonderful and iconic and like insane roles. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm so thankful. Yeah.
And throughout the roles that you've played, give us one of your faves or a couple of your faves, and give us a couple of roles that maybe you're still waiting to get the opportunity to play.
Oh my gosh, it's like picking a favorite kid. I mean, hands down, I have to say Mama Rose and Gypsy last summer was probably, I mean, it's like, it's Ethel Merman. It's like the pinnacle. So that's definitely on the top of that list. You know, I loved two roles that I got to play at TLP. Mama Morton in Chicago and Carmen and Curtains were two roles that just were wonderfully challenging. And I would love to revisit them now that I'm, you know, a little bit more age appropriate. Yeah, I mean, there's so many shows. I'd love to do like Rose and Dogfight. I think that would be an incredibly challenging and fulfilling role. Oh my gosh, literally the entire musical theater canon is just eluding me at the moment. Nancy and Oliver. I mean, there's just so many wonderful, juicy, like fierce and funny and incredible women that have been written over the years. And I mean, I'm also game for, you know, if there's any aspiring writers out there who want a sassy belter to create a new role for them, by all means, feel free to hit me up. I love creating.
And now, are you strictly musical theater artist, or do you also do plays as well?
I do plays as well. The plays are a bit farther and fewer between. I think the last time I did a play, oh gosh, I'm really hoping it wasn't like 8 years ago. I'm hoping it was sooner than that. But I've done a couple farces. I did a play called Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will was one of my first plays going out of school. I did a production of Three Musketeers a handful of years ago. Run for Your Wife, which is this great British farce. Oh my gosh, that can't have been the last play that I've done. Surely there's been some since then.
Surely, I'm sure.
A lot of it's more musical theater, though. I got that big belty voice, so you know.
You got the big belty voice, you know, that's a gift. That is a gift. I wish I had the big belty voice, you know, I tell you.
I definitely don't take it for granted. I love it.
You know, and Sam, you know, 10 years, right? We're talking a long time ago, but your memories are so vivid of TLP. It was almost like you can recall almost every moment. You know, what would you say to somebody who's coming? And we ask this of our alum because, again, you know, we bring in people. Not only are they experienced, you know, we're now we're an equity theater, and we bring in equity artists, but you know, our bread and butter are our resident company, and we do look for those you know, those early, this might be their first professional contract to get. They're probably very nervous coming. They're gonna be ensconced in a world and with people they don't know. What advice do you give people when they're on that cusp?
Always keep learning. I had a teacher or professor somewhere in the road of my life who said you should never be the best person in your class or in your cast. And for the longest time, I kind of equated that to just singing and dancing and acting. And I came to learn through TLP and other places where it's like, no, there's going to be people who are better workers than you, who are more punctual than you, who are better collaborators than you. And you can always learn from somebody. There should, you know, always be someone that kind of lights a fire under your butt. And you're kind of like, ooh, I better step up. Like that person's doing the thing. You know, and to always, you know, it's so easy, I think, to kind of fall into this trap of theater is competitive and we must compete against each other. And like, if you're up for the same part I am, then we're enemy. And it's like, you know, like I said, you're always learning from somebody. I've had incredibly dear friends of mine. The one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, we met at a unified audition because we kept tailing each other at auditions. We were getting called back for the same things at the same theaters. And we eventually kind of like, I think after like the 5th time we were at the same callback, we're like, all right, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Sam, you know, and we ended up working together last summer. She was my roommate, and she was our Georgie in Full Monty, and she was our Mazeppa in Gypsy, and she was also my understudy because I had to leave for a couple days during like right before tech. And this girl is incredibly, like her work ethic is incredible, and she was so on top of her stuff. And like, you know, I've been doing this for a decade, and I'm watching this woman and I'm like, I gotta get my crap together. Like she's got this, you know, she could do it, a drop of a hat. So you're always, you know, you're never too old to stop learning. You know, we worked with some incredible artists the summer I was at TLP, but there was a lot of us that it was our first or second gig. It was my second professional gig out of college. We had a kid who was still in school. He was 18, you know, and was still getting his degree. And I look at the people that I worked with, and like I can think of several, like Tyler, who are, working nonstop in Chicago, and Daniel Schweitzer, who was on tour with Frozen up until COVID happened, and Wes Drummond, who's been doing all this incredible directorial work and working for other regional theaters, and we kind of all scattered to the winds, but we're never. It's always keep learning and always realize that, like, just to be kind. The theater world is small. I'm constantly amazed that I'm meeting people and I'm like, how do you know so and so? I worked with them, like people, like I worked with Wes at TLP, and this summer, the theater that I worked for this last summer, he was an associate artistic director at, or had been. So it's like the world is so small, constantly keep learning and constantly realize that, like, the world is tiny. But cherish every minute of it, because you never know you never know how you're going to look back in 10 years and go, oh, I didn't know I learned that back then, but I totally did. Yeah, we always have room for growth. You're never too old.
Well, you mentioned Wes Drummond. Wes is watching tonight.
Yes. Oh, hi, baby. Yeah, Wes was a huge part of, like, we stay in touch a ton. It's funny, speaking of like, can't believe moments, when we did Chicago together, we were doing our Q to Q, and we had this incredible lighting design for that show. And we had these like fog machines or whatever to really emphasize these spotlights. And there was, we were in a hold or something, and Wes was like, oh my gosh, no, go stand over there and do this pose. You look like Mama Rose in Gypsy. And literally 10 years later, I'm playing it. And like, it was a theater that he had worked for before. And I was like, what is life? What is happening right now? But
and the good news about that role is you're still too young to be playing it.
A little bit. Like, I'm like just on the cusp of like sort of kind of being age appropriate, but also most of the cast that I worked with was, again, that was a lot of their first contracts or whatever. So, when they're between 18 and like 23, me at 34, I'm like, old hat.
In 10 years we can come back and we can say when you played it yet again, yes. And we can compare all of the times that you played it, yes. and what you've learned along the way. That's amazing. Well, Sam, it is people like you that, for me, you're a light. You're a bolt of energy. Yeah. You're fun. And that is something that, for me, when we talk to our alumni, when we talk to the people that pass through our doors and have gone on to have careers such as yours, Sandra's, Kate, everybody, they speak so highly of their experience here. Yeah. And they go out there and we're just so proud. It's like we're just so proud of everybody that, and I wasn't even here when you were here, but yet that connection, I am now proud of all the work you've done.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite things about this insane business that we're in. I mean, I remember when, I don't even know if it was Jim or somebody else was posting the trailer for that documentary that was done on TLP, Carousel. I think it was Jim's last summer. And I, COVID being COVID, I had a lot of free time. And so I sat down and I watched this documentary, and it was, a season years after I had been there, and most people who were there I didn't know. I didn't know a single actor. I knew Jim. I knew a handful of people who were in that documentary, and I just sat there like, it's like crying. You're sitting there being like, it's like, look at this place that I worked at, and seeing how it's continuing to thrive, and seeing how, my one experience 10 years ago was not an isolated incident. This is just a really special place that, it fosters, young creatives. It gives them an opportunity when, especially when you're first starting out. Finding opportunity is hard. You're busting your tail at auditions, and you just want to feel seen. You spent 4 years doing that degree, or, working your butt off in high school, and you just want to feel noticed, and that, that the work you put in paid off. And to work at a place like TLP, where that really is, like, it's evident how important that is. It's not you're just a random, ensemble person, and like, we'll deal with you later. Every single person that I worked with that summer, and I feel, I would assume anyway, has worked there since then, is held to that standard of like, no, you're here for a reason. You're here to work hard. Like, you know, you're ours from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to put these rehearsals out and put this show out and perform for these audiences. But I guarantee you, if you can do all of that and you still want to do this, you're going to do it. And that's a gift to know that so early on in your career, to be able to be given that experience so early in your career. That is an incredible blessing.
It is.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
What is your favorite non-theatrical memory of Timberlake?
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
It's the non-theatrical that gets you.
Yeah, I know. Wait, what? It's like, oh wait, that's rehearsal. No, that's a show. It's funny. Okay, so this is kind of a random thing. That's theatrical. Oh gosh, it is the non-theatrical part that gets you.
All right, then just go with your favorite memory. That's fine.
So I remember when we were getting ready to open curtains. Like I said earlier, it was a very big undertaking for our crew, who were phenomenal. And we had done our final dress rehearsal, and, you know, Jim had sat us all down and we had done notes for the night. And I remember him just being like, look, so here's the thing. Obviously, it's not a part of your contracts. None of you are required to do this. But our crew's been working their butts off for the last, 72, 90 some hours. If anyone feels led to come help out for a little bit, I know they'd appreciate it. And so me and another actor, Phil Black, we ended up coming in, and we went back to the cabins, changed into grubby clothes, and came back and, painted floors or did whatever, tiny little things, what felt like tiny little things. And I do remember specifically a crew person kicking us out, I think at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, go. And we're like, no, there's still stuff to do. And they're like, go, you have a show tomorrow night. And then to see all that hard work that they did, behind the scenes, it was just it was nice to kind of be on the other side of that too. Cause I think sometimes it's easy for theaters and companies and artists to kind of be like, oh, the crew and the actors are separate entities and none the twain shall meet. And again, I'm working a lot of traditional summer stocks where you are cast, crew, set movers, prop people, eating a hair, and all sorts of other things, to kind of see that camaraderie of okay, the show's got to happen and we got to get that set up on its feet. And but also the nightly bonfires, I mean, come on, to do a hard day's work, load of work, and then to go back to your cabin, put on your PJs, and have a drink with friends around a bonfire every night. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
It is beautiful.
Bonfires are special, even when it's 85 degrees out.
But it's so funny. I remember how hot it was, but I maybe it just cooled off enough at night. I never liked those bonfires and was like, why are we doing a bonfire in July? It never crossed my mind when it was happening.
I know that's TLP has its fair share of fire pits. Let me tell you, I've discovered 5 more this summer. I was like, where that would come from? COVID has really put a big damper on all of us, in our industry. And I think it's important to say that, whether you're on stage or not, it's important to continue to create. It's important to continue to also know that you are important, that you have a purpose. And I think that sometimes when we feel that our life is ripped from us, that sense of purpose can start to haunt us. And, and I want you to hear from me that, you are just such a great person. And I hope that you're creating, because no matter what, whether you can be on stage or not, I want to hear more from you. I want to hear your gorgeous belt. I want to see you. And I want you to, and I want everybody out there to continue to create, because it's important. Yeah. And you know what? You said it, Samantha. We are not doctors, but we are heart people. We tell stories to make the heart grow fonder, to make the heart richer, and to bring joy into people's lives. That does not stop just because we cannot be.
Well, I think something that people, for those who maybe are being a little Debbie Downer or poo-pooing the arts right now, it's I literally sat down with somebody and I'm like, okay, so during this quarantine, have you watched a movie, listened to music, read a book, you know, like listing all of these things that people have been doing to kind of keep themselves sane. And I'm like, it's all arts related. Like those things don't exist without artists, you know, and it's the stuff that's keeping us all from like completely ripping our hair out because, you know, whether it's, you know, like I'm trying to learn guitar whilst in quarantine because I have the time now, you know, or watching something on Netflix or being able to, you know, again, have access to things like a Broadway HD or a Hamilton on Disney Plus or whatever, and to see art being created, you know, it is this like kind of never ending intermission. But at the same time, I'm so hopeful to see what is created beyond this. Because I truly think the minute theater can come back and come back safely, we're going to be entering like, you know, and maybe this is the idealist in me or whatever, but it's like, I truly think we're going to be entering this like creative renaissance where it's just like the stuff that's going to get produced, the stories that are going to be told, the collaboration that's going to happen. I mean, can you imagine the first day back into rehearsal for any theater person? Like we're all going to be big weepy messes being like, we're doing a show again. Yay. You know, like to be able to
that's right.
Stories again. And I do think it's going to be a really incredible time. It's just, you know, kind of like you said, it's getting through this hurdle and realizing that, you know, yes, we're on a big indefinite pause right now. And, you know, I'm going to be the first person to say, like, as much as I want to go back to work, I want to go back to work safely because it's not just about me. It's about my castmates. It's about their families. It's about the people who come to see the shows. Yeah. I want to make sure that they can come back and see multiple shows and be season subscribers to whatever theaters, you know, are there. And I love that TLP and so many other theaters around the country are still creating, whether it's a weekly, you know, live broadcast on Facebook to connect with alumni or little virtual concerts or fundraisers. Like things are still being created. It's just getting creative in what is being created, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, Samantha, I have absolutely enjoyed talking with you tonight. It was great to meet you.
Yes.
We will definitely have to get you back here if that's something that will interest you.
That. Oh my gosh, yes, please.
We definitely want to do that. You know, we are next year is our birthday, is TLP's 60th birthday. We're hoping that that we're going to be able to bring a lot of our alumni that we've created and we've reconnected with TLP Live out and do some kind of a performance, some kind of a concert or something that will feature all of our alumni that we've been able to reconnect with. And I hope that you can be one of them.
I would love that. Oh my gosh, yes! Please keep me in the know. I would love nothing more.
Well, we will make sure to get that on our alumni page, and I think next summer we'll have a pretty good alumni weekend. I'm looking forward to
yeah.
Me too. I'll know a lot of them.
I wanted to bring this comment up for you.
Oh, Melissa. She's wonderful. She was also there in my summer of 2010. She's just incredible.
Well, Samantha, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you soon.
Sounds good. You guys have been wonderful.
All right.
Thank you, Samantha. You take care.
Well, that was nice meeting Sam.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does, you know, her energy and her light. It doesn't surprise me. Jim picked her for a resident company member.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me, and I'll bet you she was an amazing Mama Morton.
Yeah. Well, we're only 2 weeks away from the gala.
Woo!
look what I have here.
What?
I have
You are teasing.
Party in the box. There's the gala party box. Paul, do you have yours yet?
No.
Paul, yours should have been delivered.
What? What's
Is that your doorbell?
Hang on a minute. What? Thanks, Dan.
Oh, there's your party box.
Can I open it?
Well, yes, absolutely. We'll have to work on our tech a little bit, though.
Yeah, did I come in from the wrong side?
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. Wait, I should. Oh, hang on. There it is.
There it is.
What?
Yeah.
There it is.
Now, you're not just holding an empty cup there, are you, sir?
No. As a matter of fact, there is some liquid in it. I'm going to sip on it.
You do that because we tested out today the first gala show drink, which is the TLP Cranberry Mule. Oh, my God. Cranberry and lime and ginger beer.
Mule.
A little bit of vodka. And you know, we don't stop there. We have a second drink. It's the TLP Mule. And
Wouldn't it be good if I had the second one?
it is made with the TLP staff favorite drink, bourbon.
Bourbon. Comes with the
it's a bourbon mule, and yes, you set that down on your coaster so you
my
don't
coaster.
get anything all over your
I'm
lovely
so excited to actually be holding this finally. I've been wanting to hold this, and I am now holding this. This is so exciting for me.
And we have a third
Dan,
drink.
I think we should actually, just for our tours out there, when you drink a mule drink, it should be in a copper cup. And that's exactly what our cups are. So we are adhering to the tradition of the mule drink by having it in our copper cup. And we did that pretty good.
And our third drink is a watermelon mule. It's actually a frozen, slushy watermelon mule. And Nicole, one of our bartenders, will be demonstrating how to make those. And in your party box, not only will you get the cup and the coaster to put it on, you will also get the drink recipes so you can go out and get all the ingredients, have the ingredients ready, and then so you can continue to make these drinks into the fall and all winter long. On the flip side will be the drink recipes. So that's going to be coming in your party box, which actually, for those of you that have already bought your tickets, if you live close by, and if you'd like to come out to TLP on Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be having folks come out and pick up their party boxes if they want to do that. Now, if you live far away or you can't make it on Tuesday, it'll be Tuesday between 1 and, I think we said 1 and 6. Maybe, so you could stop after work, or if you've got time during the day, stop out. And we'll have a way to drive around. We'll be able to hand your party box in through your window, and we'll do it socially distanced and COVID safe. And you'll get your party box. And if you aren't able to do that, we'll send the party box to you the very next day. So you'll all have your party box soon.
Now, Dan, last week when we talked about the gala, we talked about, what's in the box, how the gala is going to look. Right now, Michael McBride, our resident musical director, is in rehearsals with all of our entertainment and putting that together. And that's going to be wonderful. I've been hearing some of the songs, and, of course, Felicia has been practicing, and she sounds amazing. And she's going to be one of our special featured guests that night. But I also wanted to tell you that I had a couple conversations with people that okay, but Paul, how are you and Dan going to actually make this night exciting? I mean, it's on a virtual platform. Are you guys just going to sit in front of your computer screens and do what you do for TLP Live? Because I don't know, is that? And I said, no. I think it's important to understand that we are working with a production company, that we are going to bring our virtual gala, the full on experience. We are going to be cameras and lights, stages, different locations, different guests checking in with people. It is not going to be anything but an amazing, spectacular night. And I really
started working on my logistic notes this afternoon, thinking about all of the things that
I've been losing sleep and stressing over the technical things. I mean, It is a lot. So I think without revealing too much technical jargon that is going to bore everybody, I can tell you firsthand that what we are going to present has been, you have not seen this yet, and you are going to have a fantastic evening. We are making sure of that, and we are working tirelessly. So if you're having any trepidation about it, call us, ask us, email us. We'll tell you. But let me tell you something. It's not going to be anything but spectacular, because that's what we do, Dan.
Absolutely.
We do spectacular.
We do something spectacular. At 6 o'clock, you can tune in. We'll have a little background music playing. At about 6:30, we're going to do a kind of like a red carpet opening where we'll, zoom in and see how people are doing in their homes with their dinners, and we'll take a look at how things are set up here, a little backstage look. And then at 7 o'clock, we hit the lights. We hit the timpani roll, and the show starts. And I tell you what, from being here at the gala, if the live auction is incredibly fun. Fun the Need last year was so exciting. But live auction, we put together some great live auction items. And, a lot of the live auction items are experiences here at Timberlake, things that you just don't get to do. So we have parties on the deck before you see the show. We have tapas and teenies, martinis and tapas, large appetizers. We're setting up VIP experiences in the theater. In fact, Paul, we talked about buying some tall chairs for back behind the production stage manager to be able to watch. I picked them up today. We've got the tall chairs.
That doesn't surprise me.
I found a restaurant going out of business today, and I bought their tall chairs for like dirt cheap.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, there's such great things. There's the VIP party beforehand, where you can have a cocktail party with your friends before the show back at the bar.
There's the walk-on roll.
The walk-on roll. Oh my gosh! Yeah, the
so if you for our winners there, if you get the lucky win, you're gonna have one rehearsal, one costume fitting, and we're going to give you a line or a part of a song to sing, and we're going to feature you in a moment in the show on stage for all of your family to see. It's a one-time deal. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It usually everybody. Let's see. Last year it was Sam, and he was amazing. And
Eileen has it for this season.
Eileen has it for this
over into next season.
Yep. So we're going to have two people next year, Dan. We're going to have one from this year and next year.
Yes, we are. There's a VIP package where you can sit backstage and watch how it's done from backstage.
You can also there's one where you can come into the rehearsal pavilion. You can actually watch us rehearse the final tech dress, have dinner before, and come in
with the actors. Yeah.
And that's with the actors and with the creative team. And so you really get a chance to ask questions about what goes into, why did you make that choice, or why is that person moving in that direction at that time? And they're there to talk about their process.
So the bidding is the thing that we've been, really trying to figure out how we're going to do this, because we're going to have people call us, they're going to email us their bids. Well, we're working with a company right now that will put all of the items. In fact, we're putting them on there right now, putting all the items on an app on your phone, and you'll get on BidPal and you can bid right there as you're watching the gala. We're also going to give you a bid paddle or a bid card. So during the live auction, you can show us that, and then you can put your bid in here, or you can just keep bidding like this until we get toward the top and you put your bid in. The winner puts the bid in at the end. There's different ways of doing it. And for those of you that just don't have the wherewithal or the care to do the technology, we're even still going to have a way for you can phone it in or text it to us or
comment on the side comments. It's all going to be, it's going to be such a friendly, it's a user-friendly interactive tool that we're going to be, everybody's going to be, no problem hooking it up. It's like buying a movie and you're just going to get the movie and you go for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Dan, after last weekend, after we explained it, we actually had a pretty big uptick of people buying tickets. So I'm hoping that we see that one more time, because our goal is 250. We want 250 tickets sold, because that will really, again, everybody, this is our annual fundraiser, and COVID did hit. and COVID did make a big mark on us financially. So we are asking for your support. And why not? Because we're going to give you an evening of entertainment that'll be not too forgotten. And it's only going to be 90 minutes. So it's not even going to be that long of a night as far as, you won't have time to get like, wow, I don't know. It'll be quick and it'll be very fun filled.
It will. There'll be a lot of action, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the entertainment turns out, because we've got some very, very talented people, and Michael does such a wonderful job putting all this together. So that's our live auction. We've also got a few other things in the live auction. There's the Twilight Riverboat trip, which is an awesome experience. So we'll have all of this stuff on our website probably by the end of the day tomorrow, and then also on this app. And we'll have our app set up so anybody, even if you didn't buy a ticket, you can look and see. And actually, with our silent auction
shaping up to be really something, Dan. I'm telling you, I just got confirmation that one of the local bakers, Travis Yenny, is going to donate a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake for the silent auction. And he and his wife are opening up micro farm on Market Street. So this is going to be their way of kickstarting their businesses, and they're donating a cheesecake to the cause. And I'm bidding on it. Just
very cool. Now, the other thing is, I'm really excited this year about our Fund the Need. We started looking at remodeling and refurbing our cabins. That's kind of what they look like now. Old hospital beds, carpet that's been there for quite some time, dressers that barely open and close. Well, we put together one cabin, and that's the new look of the cabins.
Now, there are 2 beds in that cabin, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, I just didn't go over all the way to the side there with this picture.
Yeah, but they look beautiful.
Yeah, we have because of COVID, we want people to be able to do their snacks and things in their rooms rather than everyone gather at night in the kitchen. That's just not healthful any longer. Curtains and shades on the windows, new furniture, new flooring, and a cabin refurb runs $4,100. And let me tell you this. We announced this last week. We showed what it was. And as we were signing off, we had an anonymous donation for one complete cabin. So we're already at $4,100 and Fund the Need. Absolutely. Here we go. Clink. Thank you to our anonymous donor.
And thank you for everybody
for our Fund the Need cabin refurbish. And so I guess what that tells us is we don't have to wait 2 weeks. We can, if anyone else wants to donate a cabin or any part,
get the party started. Let's do it. We're here.
Started, exactly.
And I hope to see you all at the virtual gala. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight and watching TLP Live. You guys are great. I raise my glass to you. Stay healthy, stay happy, and wear your masks. And we'll see you all next week.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Have a good week. We'll see you tomorrow as we try to figure out all this logistics on the.
It's going to be exciting, Dan. I'm looking forward to it.
It is. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate you having here. We love the comments, and we love the comments that we get during the week. People emailing and calling out. They sometimes don't even watch TLP Live. Well, it's live, but they're grabbing it later in the evening or during the week. So thank you all. We love you. And remember, we are all in this together. All in this together, once we go.